So, if you've already watched this week's episode, you notice that I wasn't there because I was out on vacay, and you'll hear the vacation stories either on the next episode or the next couple episodes here. But I figured this might be a good opportunity because this is the first episode that I haven't been able to be on to actually react to the episode. So, Auntie Kerel reacts to Minority Report, which is kind of weird to say. Here we go. And honestly, I don't want to do too much extra editing, so I might just let this play completely through. You might hear me sneeze, you might hear me cough. I'm eating M&Ms, so you might hear me chew. It is what it is. We'll see how it goes.
Hey, community, here's what's brewing today.
Put this on 2 times a week.
Weekends with Adele.
Rihanna halftime performance.
And Kerel, bring your black ass back to this podcast. So get your cups ready for Minority Report.
Which that part was funny already because I'll say it in a minute.
Not her doing 2 beats off.
Girl, per usual, absolutely. Hey, community, welcome to Minority Report. It's Auntie Kerel.
It's Auntie Dwan.
And it's Auntie Late Landon.
Very late landed. And you notice that we have a different voice starting the episode. Auntie Kerel ain't here. The girl is in Belize living her best life. She on a cruise, posting all the cute photos.
Yes.
Time.
Uh-huh.
But honey,
But still,
girl, community. So let us get into it. Let's get into
right.
And before the jump, I haven't seen this full episode yet. I guess behind the curtain here, originally they were going to edit everything. The plan was to have a plan. Well, the original plan was we had a backup episode that we'll put out sometime in the future still. But they were like, you know what? Let's try to have the three of them edit everything, handle the social, et cetera, while I was out. That way I could start taking some of the responsibility off my plate and kind of spread it out more evenly across the group here. But what happened was they recorded and then they were having some technical difficulties. Then Jarrell wasn't feeling well later in the week, so didn't get a chance to edit it. So I'm seeing this all like I didn't have access to Wi-Fi really or internet the week I was gone, kind of sporadically. And so when I got back into the States, I had saw that they were like, you know what, we ran into issues, and plus Jarrell wasn't feeling well. We're just going to go back to the plan B and just put this particular episode into the vault. So I was like, okay, it is what it is. But by the time I got home, I was like, all right, let me see if I could just knock it out for them real quick. Well, it took way longer than I thought because there's some crunchy mics, technical difficulties throughout the whole episode that would have probably made it even harder for Jarrell or Dewan to try to edit it without me being in. But we got it out. I got it out there. And but what I did was literally kind of skim through the episode to find the points where they changed their topics and things like that to get the timestamps. So this is my first time seeing the entire episode. And if you see me off to the side, I'm going to be writing down little notes so I can write down clip ideas for social media because I haven't even done that part yet. So yeah, it's going to be my first literally opportunity watching the full episode. So my reactions are going to be genuine and see what they're saying.
Right now. First of all, for all y'all that's been rocking with us, this is the first time in almost 4 years that.
And maybe I'd slow the speed down a little bit. It's kind of hard to understand for maybe you all.
Auntie Kerel has not been a part of an episode, nor has she been the one behind the scenes getting the girls together. Okay,
honey, it was a mission today. It was a mission today.
Let me tell you, this is why we give Auntie Kerel her flowers when we be talking about the end of the year, how much we're grateful for her, because y'all, the struggle was real. First off, did you know? It is. You're right. It is. Because we don't even know what this is going to sound like afterwards. So again,
it was crunchy. I had to go. I had to manipulate
this
shit.
We were going to do like the video. So we were like, who got the link? We were all just looking at each other. It was like the Spider-Man gif where you see the three Spider-Mans pointing at each other. It was three of us being like, you got it? Are you going to do it? You going to do it?
And you know damn well I ain't got it.
Damn well, but just in case.
That for sure. We know that.
Girl, it was a mess. So then we figured out, all right, cool. We got into StreamYard. We figured it out. Then all of a sudden, everyone got technical issues. Landon Mike is doing a choppy, hot. Granted, she's already loud, but the mic really couldn't
handle her. Pause right
Auntie Devon was like, bitch, I've been working. Mine ain't.
I don't know what's going on with Landon's internet and Mike the last few episodes. We got to fix that. That shit is annoying. Love you, boo, but woo, I don't know what's going on.
Working. Honey, y'all, this is going to be a spicy ass episode.
Like
we literally the content, but it's gonna be crunchy. I'm just gonna
and like we started like an hour ago, and we're just now recording. Like it took us a good 45 to 60 minutes for us to get to this point.
We say all this to say, Kerel,
we love you, girl.
You can stay your ass at home. No, stay your ass at home. This your
first no first and last.
We'll figure this out.
This money don't go nowhere, okay? Yeah. We leave the house and shit fall apart.
This ain't it.
Look, I felt like she didn't left the podcast with a babysitter. We like barely keeping the child alive.
So forgive us in advance if this shit sound crack, because it is what it is.
Yeah, and there she go.
I got your booze. I was gonna let y'all sound too crunchy.
But you know what?
Listen, and I don't care. And I don't care. It is what it is. What can I do?
Yeah.
She don't care because she a guest. She can go.
Thank you. Exactly.
Like,
It ain't my face.
Right, Dewan.
she's like,
Hey,
I'm just standing.
hey, I'm just
I'll be
Solange.
sure,
I'm just Solange, okay? I'm just Solange over here, okay?
Solange.
Solange,
Solange.
Solange.
She added a whole H to it, okay? Bitch.
I'm done.
Solange, whatever. Yeah, that's me.
Girl, no, put some respect on her
I
name.
still
Don't
got my
ever
towel
Solange,
over here because
okay?
I'm sure I'm
'Cause I
cracking up.
still rocking Stay at the Table. So just saying.
But honestly, that is my favorite. Well, it's what that's like an EP.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like that's like my favorite collection of music of hers altogether. Full stop. Like I don't need to listen to anything else.
Yeah, it's so good. I still try to support the other things as well, her other projects. But I'm ready for her to put some new music out too. I wonder after B does
Great.
anything this summer with the tour and stuff like that, if we're gonna start seeing some music from Solange, because
Yeah.
it's about time. It's about time.
It's
It
been a
is
minute.
about time.
Well, she said something to the effect that she's diving more into the space of performance art.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So she's
okay.
she's like really getting centered and creating herself artistically and not necessarily falling into like mainstream distribution of like or expression of art. So
Okay.
we might be her next anything might be her like doing the the White Lotus theme song.
Stop. If I hear that song one more time, I am going to lose my shit. There's nothing like some white gays making something so basic, something more than it is. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, how is this really a thing? But I do gotta say though, pivoting to music,
Oh,
we
here
gotta
we
talk
go.
about the Super Bowl halftime show.
Yes.
We have to.
Oh, I want to talk
Girl,
about this because I didn't get
I
a
got
chance
so
to
many
talk
mixed
about it.
emotions. I got so many mixed emotions. But I'll let y'all go first before I get canceled first. So I'm gonna let y'all go.
Wow. Dewan, you go first.
I actually liked it. I liked it. Well, and let me say this caveat: I had an edible.
One of those ones that we had in Vegas.
Yeah, but it was like stronger than that.
Oh, I haven't
Ooh.
even heard the stories about Vegas either.
Yeah, I actually really liked it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was curious as to why she wasn't bringing out any special guests, and then obviously we find out that the special guest was her and her baby. So I was down for that. I like the whole like Super Mario game aspect of it. Like the little level flying up in the air. I was just
That
waiting
was
for they had
fire.
little like all the dancers were all wearing like the white puffers and all the white stuff, and she was the only person that was in any kind of color, and it kind of like reminded me of like a video game from back in the day.
Okay. All right. Honestly, I thought you would have had an issue with it, but okay, I loved it. The edible might have been real good. Was it more than that 25 milligram one that you gave me?
Yeah.
Okay. See,
Oh.
which was in orbit.
It was
She
that.
was in orbit. Okay.
And mind you, this is not like me saying like, oh, I thought it was like the best performance ever, because I don't. Like,
Yeah.
obviously her singing was crunchy to the degree that she was doing live singing, because I imagine most of it was like pre-recorded or whatever. She wasn't doing any kind of moving around. She got a baby, so she walked, she turned, she blinked.
Wow.
And that was
I've said this on previous episodes. Rihanna live. Oof. Sometimes she'd be making you do the work. She'd be making you sing. She'd be making you dance. Which, okay, cool. But I could do that at the crib. So I think the Super Bowl performance is iterative, if I could talk, of how she performs, quite frankly. And so if you liked it, you're going to like her concerts. If you didn't like it, you're not going to like her concerts.
that was about the end of it. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it was the best performance ever, but like performance as a whole in terms of the spectacle and using of like the space and like having it being like really like a performance, I felt the energy of it, and like the songs were kind of like just a throwback because it's all the stuff that I really loved, and there were obviously some songs that I would have liked her to have incorporated in there, but all in all, it's just like I was just glad to see her out there doing
Which songs? Interesting.
Right, that's right.
Which
because
songs?
she is not known for being like a massive like crisp performer to begin with. So I
Yes.
had my expectations were even Steven with what she had delivered in the past.
That's fair.
Period.
That's fair. 100%. Okay.
Fair. That's fair.
Lady, how about you, girl?
I am a huge Rihanna fan. I know that some people, have the girls. Y'all have Beyonce. I'm a huge Rihanna fan. So, excuse me. So in my
Always the girls
opinion,
that can't dance. I like it.
listen. Push your mouth
Oh, damn.
and listen.
You got the wrong moderator today. I love this job, girl.
Listen. Let me tell you what you're not gonna do. You're not gonna come for my girl Rihanna. That's what you're not gonna do on your own podcast. Okay, I'm gonna let you know that right now.
Podcast.
I love Rihanna. I always have. And I thought her performance was amazing. I got goosebumps at Diamonds and Umbrella just because those are just my songs. Those are my
Jarrell-
songs. And if
not
you don't like it,
Jarrell's
that's just
face.
too damn bad. But what I will tell you is that
I think what I'm going to do throughout this is kind of just like my perspective of when we're kind of actually recording live. Watch Jarrell a lot of times. You can tell how he's feeling solely by his face. And so even when we're in the moment, as a moderator, one of my things is just like, my job is to kind of just set Jarrell, volleyball set Jarrell and Dewan up to be the best, host that they can be. And a lot of times I know how to do that at this point after 210 episodes, 211 episodes, of how to get maybe some of the reactions that we need from it. And a lot of it starts by looking at how Jarrell is reacting. Ooh, let me start again. Hold on.
people who criticize her performance can barely get up off the couch without giving old man sounds. So before y'all bitches come for her, y'all need to go see a chiropractor because she did listen, she did more than what most people can do. And as someone who works in a field of art, I work as a group fitness instructor. It's hard to get up on that stage and do what we do sometimes. So I have 1000% respect for what she did in her pregnant state. And I just enjoy Rihanna. I love her music. I love her vibe. I do agree with the one that it wasn't anything like spectacular, crazy, like nothing like awe-inspiring, but I liked it. I loved it. She can do no wrong.
Look at my main thoughts
like,
after they
that was not feeling, which was Wild Thoughts. I'm like, get done without that. But for the most part, it's an A in my book. What'd you say?
That was a song that I didn't know because there was a point where I was like, "Is this a new song?" I don't really listen to her stuff like cover to cover. So
cover to cover. You know, she was doing B-sides.
I have mixed emotions, and I feel like, what is it? Is it Rihanna's Army or whatever they call them, the Fancy Squad or whatever they call them?
Girl, the Navy.
I didn't really feel it, if I'm being honest. I get that she was pregnant, and I get that she's not known for entertaining and being like a dancer performer. And someone actually posted a video of her at the 2016 VMAs when she got that award, and she did that like 10-minute performance there. And I realized even then the choreography was giving just as much then as it did then, which is a little shoulder here, a little hip twirl here, and a little I come in and do a little kick to the side and drag my foot back in. So it gave what I expected.
I thought the choreography was
also, she hasn't been on the stage for 7 years too, so I also had to remember to like lower my own expectations of what to expect of her too, because you can't go 7 years without releasing any music, without performing, and then have this expectation that she's up there as well.
That's fair.
So I had to remind myself of those two things. You know, she delivered what she is known for, and I can't compare her to someone else like a Beyonce because those are just two different lanes. So that's more on me.
1,000.
The part that I criticize of the performance is just, if you are not going to give so much because you're pregnant, and you also don't give that much as is individually, then you should have brought out other performers. So you should have entertained more in other aspects, and that's a good way to bring in other people who their lane is to do those things. I think about like Coldplay, who he has a niche, and his thing is just to kind of jump around the stage, and there isn't like some control. But what did he do? He brought out two performers, Bruno Mars and Beyonce, who are performers who like to bring things in. You know, also that's when Beyonce did Formation as well too. So it was a whole spectacle then as well too. So you can bring in people to also add to the Super Bowl that doesn't necessarily take away from you. Think about the Super Bowl last year. There was Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, 50 Cent, was Eminem there as well, Mary J. Blige. Right. So my point that I'm making is, it doesn't have to fall solely on your shoulders to be the only performer on that stage. And it's not like you don't have hits, Rihanna, with other people that you could have easily called upon who ain't doing shit. All the people who she has collaborations with are literally not doing anything right now. None of them have music out currently right now. Not a single one. And Jay-Z was in the fucking building.
Jay ain't gonna get up there.
So to me, it don't make no sense why she didn't do that. But for it just to be her, she gave something, and she gave what was typically her, and kudos to her.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm gonna kind of get my reactions here. I think I actually kind of disagree. I think she gave just enough. A couple thoughts kind of come to my mind. A, that's a Rihanna concert, like I just said. But then B, I thought the choreography was hitting. I thought the staging was spectacular. The dancers were eating. So that was the additional stuff that was needed for me, because I knew Rihanna wasn't going to go full out, because she never really goes full out in a choreography moment. She kind of give you the vibe, the cool moments that she needed, you know, the little fancy powder stuff. And that's what I expect from Rihanna. And that's what I need, because like, I think the expectation of her isn't to be full out, it's to give you a vibey moment. And that's what she delivered to me. I thought visually it was spectacular. It's probably one of my favorite visual halftime shows ever. I think she did something different that The Weeknd thought he was doing, but The Weeknd confused us. This gave us, you know, something like, damn, I didn't think about that. Damn, I didn't think we could do the, like Dewan said, the Super Mario levels like that. Guarantee you we're going to see those somewhere in different iterations going forward, because no one has done it till now. And that was innovative. I thought she actually sounded better than I thought she was going to. I will give her that, because sometimes I keep going back to those notes in my head of seeing her in concert. And I was like, ooh, this wasn't the best. And this is not hating on Rihanna. This is not, so the Navy don't show up in my comments either. But I thought she sounded actually better than I thought she was going to. So I got to give her that. And 6 months pregnant, I bet she wanted to pee on herself being up that high. So I got to give it to her. And I'm actually kind of glad she didn't bring out anybody. I didn't want her to bring out Kanye. Jay ain't going to do it. Jay ain't going to get out there. And honestly, on that Run This Town, I don't need Jay out there. And then who else? Work. We don't need Khaled up there. What other collaborations? They ain't going to do Chris Brown. So who else she collaborated with? I don't think she collaborated with anyone else that was big enough a hit for it to be warranted on this. So that's my thoughts on the Rihanna. And then maybe I even do a reaction. I don't know. We'll see.
I was kind of hoping that she would do Disturbia and do her little like wiggle jiggle. And if y'all aren't watching on YouTube, you got to get into the YouTube because that's half the fun. But I was kind of hoping that she would do that just because you know how like Dua Lipa will like do the Dua Lipa jiggle or whatever. Like,
her trying to get her foot on a sneaker.
Yeah, there's something very like endearing about that. But I know that's not really like cool. And Rihanna's just like a chick that's like more to like being like cool and original, blah blah blah. But I thought that would have been a fun moment. Yeah. And I do appreciate the fact that she actually did the entire show by herself because I feel like a lot of Rihanna's stans are have been clamoring to see her, and I almost feel like if she would have shared the stage with a bunch of other people, that would have been a criticism. Like, damn, you ain't even coming out with any music, and you're sharing the stage with a whole bunch of other people. Like,
yeah, I see that because she told us without telling us, y'all ain't getting no music anytime soon.
Y'all ain't getting nothing.
She started off with Baby Bump, so she just said, she said, this is it, y'all.
She said, baby number 2.
So, I mean, to that point. Yeah, to that point, I respect that too because she basically said, "Yeah, y'all ain't getting shit." So
and also think about the fact that if she had brought out some of those other performers, it may have required her to move in a way that just wasn't authentic to her, considering the fact that she's pregnant. Like with DJ Khaled or with Jay-Z, she may have had to do more choreography than what she could have done being pregnant. I don't know. I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. You don't know.
The bare minimum. Yeah,
what I'm saying is you just don't know.
Name one song that's gonna require more. If anything, all them songs have a reggaeton, which reggaeton music make you shake your ass.
Umbrella.
Okay, but even then, you have the drums in the background that can speed up the tempo as well too.
Yes, I understand that. What I'm saying is that having more performers may have required her to move around in a way that's just not right for her right now with her being pregnant. That's what I'm saying. That's my take on it.
That is a possibility.
In
the realm of all the things that are possible. That is
in the multiverse.
I'm sitting here like, girl, like, no, because the truth is, like, she has some bops that are fast tempo, and if she didn't do them on her own songs, I know for a fact she's not gonna do them to someone else. And that's one of the things about Paris's choreography too, is her choreography is like a group choreography. You watch a person do that on their own, it doesn't look as good. But when you got 15 people doing the same thing, it looks pretty. Because if you just look at her doing it, or just one person it didn't look right. And so that's why I still kind of feel that if she brought someone else, I don't think Paris would have changed the choreography because that's the style that she kind of choreographs to.
You know who did do that though? The sign language chick.
Yeah, sign language chick was giving life.
She, honey, sign her.
Literally
sign her. Sign her. She needs more than a check because the internet ate her up. She did her thing. She was into it, and I love it. And I actually really love the fact that that artists are incorporating sign language artists who are getting just as much shine out of them, embodying the music and being all into it and whatnot, while still giving people who are deaf and need
that's some real inclusivity shit. Like that. Yeah,
but they're also giving you a show because, honey, I can watch her for half of the show.
Okay. She ate. She left no crumbs. I was like, that's who should have been a real choreographer.
Oh damn, no.
But I will say this though. Here's the other thing. Dwayne and I also saw Adele like 2 nights before. So granted, Adele does not dance. She still delivered above expectations. Okay. So when you have someone exceed your expectations and then you go to another person who is high profile and dearly beloved and all that shit, and they don't meet it, it's hard not to.
You went to a concert, so you feel that energy versus watching her on TV. How is that the same?
1000%.
It wasn't about the energy, honey. It wasn't even about the energy. It was just about the deliverance from Rihanna herself.
I'm with Landon on that one.
To Adele,
is that she sounded great. She sounded great.
Yeah.
Rihanna sounded great. That was probably the best part of the performance for me, is that she sounded great. Even though she had like some backtrack with her and some vocals with her, but when she did sing, she sounded great, and I appreciate that the most. But I'm not comparing them as the same artist. I'm talking about the deliverance of what they do individually. Okay, and I just didn't get from what I wanted out of Rihanna for someone who had been gone so long. Like, to me, I wanted my edges to be gone, like yours.
They're already gone, girl.
You set yourself up on that.
I wanted to be left gooped and gagged. I felt like once it was over, I was just like, okay, I wanted something to talk about afterwards because it had been so long, and she did not give that for me. The memes and the internet did. The internet gave me what I needed.
But the internet always gives.
I feel like even in the low mobility, there was also a little bit of a lack of like energy altogether. And the reality of it is that there's reasons behind it because she's pregnant. That was all the energy that she has. So for someone who is, and I don't know how far along she is, she's probably like six months, something like that.
Well, didn't she just give birth in May though?
That's why the internet saying that's why we call him ASAP.
Like, God damn.
Right now, because they usually say give about 6 months before you go back in there. But you say, no, I'm shooting this club up tomorrow.
Not time to replay, bitch.
Wow.
So I honestly, like, in the midst of all that, she probably pinned this deal. Like,
you say ASAP got back in that bitch. Oh, y'all stupid. That's funny. He did say that. Yeah, that's funny. And then plus, here's the thing. We got to also have the conversation about Black entertainers always having to be at the peak top moments of all times. Give these white folks the bare minimum, damn it. Because they're giving us the bare minimum. Let's have that conversation. We might need to write that down for another combo. But anyway.
was even a factor. You know, they probably had to like pare back a lot when she found out because, you know, it didn't make sense for her to back out and whatnot. You know, and I think that given the lower, I don't want to say low energy, but the lower energy, I think the only thing that I was really missing was a little bit more sexiness from Rihanna. We got the cool part, but like,
Yeah,
I wanted a little bit more of the sexiness. I also feel like the way that it was shot,
Kiss It
because
Better
they were
part
using
when
a lot
she
of those
touched it
stadium
with
cams,
JJ.
they can zoom in and zoom out and whatnot, and it looks all, you know, like whatever. But I feel like it reminded me a lot of her Fenty shows, because her Fenty shows are almost like one continuous shot going from area to area to area, and it was very much like that. Like it was almost one continuous shot, zooming in and zooming out, and like all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of cool. But you know, I give her props. You know, props for like being up there and you know, and being pregnant and giving, you know, 100% of whatever you got. Props to all the folks that were on the platforms. You know, like I was holding my breath, like is somebody gonna fall, because that is some crazy stuff. Like back in the day, they used to have like cranes to put people in the air. Now they put people up in the air with like fucking hovercrafts on their shoes, and you know, and a parachute would be like, okay, well,
not me.
Not me.
You know, that's the real tea. That's what that big old coat was. It was an emergency parachute.
I
She put it back on when she
that
got
was
back
a
on.
Diana Ross
You know, when
moment.
she got off, she took it off.
I thought the helicopter was going to come and pick her up.
Afterwards, I was reading an article that was an homage to Auntea Kerel.
Okay. I thought the red was to Diana Ross, but she got picked up by that helicopter.
So can we rewind for the weekend?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the next transition.
Yes, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
It was so good to see you.
Okay, so first things first. Not last weekend, but the week prior, we went to San Diego with some friends and then spent most of the time in Palm Springs. So last week's episode was recorded while we were in Palm Springs. And then we drove from Palm Springs to Vegas to meet up with our girls and in true DeWan fashion, because you know I don't remember dates, I don't remember times. I was stuck on Fizz and Darrell getting into Vegas at 11 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, damn, you know, we're 4 hours away. We would have to leave at the butt crack of dawn in order for us, because we rented a car, so we were just gonna pick them up and then go to the Airbnb. So I'm like texting him like, well, I don't know if we're gonna be able to make it. And Darrell was being so nice. He was like, oh, boo, it's okay. You know, no worries. We can just Uber. We can make it work. And And I was like, no, we got to figure this out. It's like, I know your plane's supposed to be landing at 11 o'clock, but I talked to the Airbnb and we can get an early entry. But he goes, no, we don't. No, we get in at 1. It's like, what? Oh, so we got time. So we drove all the way from Vegas. I'm sorry, all the way from Palm Springs to Vegas. We got to the Airbnb, dropped our stuff off, and then as soon as we dropped our stuff off, we get the text, bitch, I'm on it. We landed right now. And then we came, we got them, and then the rest is history.
Girl, we hit the ground running. We got to the house, went through like 3 bottles of wine. We basically went through a whole case of White Claw, and then this bitch took an edible. All immediately down. And then all this before.
This was between 12:30 when we got y'all, and
no, y'all got to like 2:30.
That's right.
Yes, it's like 2:30 and 6 o'clock. So in literally 3.5 hours, went through like 3 bottles and a box of White Claws.
Wow, like, that was partying.
So then,
we really haven't. All 4 of us haven't been together in the same room for I think what 3 years.
So when's the last
4
time?
years. The first time we met. The first time that DeWan and I met is the first time that all 4 of us hung out together.
Wait, no, didn't I come to see you when I had that job opportunity in Seattle?
But Adam didn't come.
Right.
Yes,
before.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the first time that we got to meet Joan is when we first met you, and Adam came too. That was the last time all 4 of us hung out. Because when you came for that job opportunity, it was just you. And then when we went to Fizz, when we went to New York for Fizz's birthday, Adam wasn't there.
Right.
So this was the first time. So I love that it was like, and we were saying this too. It's crazy that we get together to see Adele in Vegas, and then we're gonna get together in Paris to see Beyonce, like the 2 biggest divas in the game right now.
Damn, and Kerel ain't in none of this shit.
But let's just say this, y'all. We got to see the pass for the Adele concert, and the bartender, she got us together quick. The glasses, we got the tall glasses because DeWan was like, bitch, yes, I want the 24-ounce hoe. What you think? Duh. And me and the girl were like, oh, well, say less then. She poured at least half of the cup.
The cup was this big. And she poured, I had a gin and tonic. What did you have? You had
we had vodka sodas.
Vodka sodas, right? And then I think Adam had like a rum and seltzer or something like that. But more than half of the cup, and I'm not even talking about ice, more than half of the cup was liquor. And
yes.
with just like a little bit of like
a gay bar pour. It was a gay bar pour.
Yeah.
And we looked at her, we said, oh, she said, y'all know one thing I don't play around is with these drinks. And I said, I like you, because you know these motherfuckers with $30, $40 a piece. And she made sure we got our money's worth for each of those drinks.
That's a word.
And literally, that was the only drink we had the whole concert because of how strong they were.
Wow.
Now, mind you, we were already lit because we had already been through probably 3 to 4 bottles of wine.
He was already lit.
White Claw.
That's why.
Well, we had the White Claw. We had the wine. So we were feeling pretty good. Now, mind you, no driving was involved. We were Uber, so you know we're being responsible. But when we showed up, we were feeling pretty good. You know, we were just waiting in line to get our drinks or whatever. And by the time we got to the front of the line, the girl, she was super cool, pulled the drinks and whatnot. And I think I tipped her like $40 or something. Yeah. And I didn't even know because I wasn't even paying attention to how strong the drinks were. Mm-hmm. It wasn't until probably after we were in the concert. And the concert was maybe like at the midpoint. I looked over to Adam. I was like, I'm drunk as hell. And then Fizz was on a whole other planet.
But she was living her best life. Like she sat at the edge of her seat the whole time. She knew word for word every single song. You saw her hands going up like this. She was weighing, girl. I don't think there was a single person in that auditorium that had more fun than her, if I'm being completely honest.
And I might have had a little something to do with it because I gave her one of my edibles.
Yeah, you did get her.
There you go.
Yeah. Honestly, I think so. But this is how you know you get older. Not us finding our seats and cheering that the interest to our section. The bathroom is right there because these bitches had to keep going to the bathroom, and so they were so happy that the bathroom was like 8 rows away. They're like, we're going real quick.
I went 5 times.
Girl, they were
Can I hear about Adele, please? Tell me
enough
about
about y'all bitches.
She did such a phenomenal job. Like, again, this is my second time seeing her, and there was times where I'm not even paying attention to the performance. I'm like watching her mouth and just trying to hear, like, is this her or is this a track behind her? And then you hear her go, and you're like, no, the bitch is live. The mic is on. The mic is on. She sounded so much like her actual tracks. And for that to be at that time her 21st performance of her residency, I'm like, bitch, how are you sustaining this? Like, it is.
That doctor sewed that vocal cords up good.
And it also, one of the things that I wasn't expecting, it was way more lively than I was expecting too. Because she has a lot of sad songs. Yeah. But she was like kiki and joking with the crowd. And she said at the beginning, she said, "This is not a sit down concert. Y'all can stand up and you can dance." She's like, "I only got like 4, so when I do them, you better get up."
That part.
And everyone, with the exception of the 2 old bitches in front of us, got up.
A whole situation.
Bitch, let me tell you. I accidentally kicked their chair before the show even started. And I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to kick your chair." And she's like, "Oh, that's okay as long as you don't sing." And I was like, "Oh, bitch, well, it looks like I won't be kicking your chair at all because I will be singing."
That part.
Yep.
They
were some crotchety old curmudgeons.
Were they white?
Sitting up there like at the concert. They were the type of people that all they wanted to do was sit down and listen to the concert. Meanwhile, like, it's a concert, so people are getting up out of their chairs. I felt so bad because there was 2 younger girls, and I could tell that this was like, I don't know if this was like their first concert or one of the first concerts, but you could tell that they were having like a girls' night. Yes. And it was just the 2 of them. They were probably what, 19, 20, 22?
I probably say they were probably like 22 because they looked like they were barely able to drink.
Right. But they were trying their best to have such a good time. They were singing the songs to each other. They were playing with each other. And every once in a while, the girl that was the closest to these older women that was right next to them, she would bump into the woman and she would say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And they had the most stank faces on them. And I'm like, this is a concert. This ain't church.
You can stay your ass home and listen to Spotify, girl.
Right.
Honey.
And the young bitch turned around and she was like, yeah, I did too. Because she turned around, she was like, "We paid all this money for these tickets. Like, we want to come here and enjoy it." And I was like, "Girl, so do we. Like,
enjoy."
That's what we said. Enjoy. And we got it too, because even though we were a little annoyed at some parts, we also understood because we all have been there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really felt like this was their first big concert. Like, they dropped, because everyone drops money. We paid $2,400 for these 4 tickets. So it's not like it was a $20 show. Okay.
Right.
So
and we were not front row. Let's be clear.
Okay. Not even. We were at least like 30 yards away from the actual stage, like 40 maybe. Like, we were not close, and we still paid a pretty penny. So I can understand these young people being like, "Hey, I'm in here. This
I
is
done dropped my college tuition.
Go, sweetie. You live your best life."
I know that's right.
So like those like the young people I felt bad for, because I really wanted them to have a good time, but the white people around just were not getting it. They were not getting it. But
the concert was phenomenal. I've liked Adele's songs, like, casually. I can't say that I have ever listened to her albums from cover to cover. I can't say that I ever go back to any of her songs and put them on just because I want to listen to Rolling in the Deep or whatever. Like, if I hear it and it's on, that's one thing. But I'm not.
That's interesting.
So I just wanted to go.
I don't either. I don't go to Adele for single moments. Say, "Oh, I feel like listening to Adele today." It's like I almost have to listen to the whole album and be in one of those kind of moods. But when I'm in one of those moods, nobody hit like Adele. Yeah, that's a true statement. I never thought about that.
To go truthfully because I wanted to spend time with my girls. That was really the reason why I was like, because we were even talking about on the podcast. Like, oh yeah, we should get. We're gonna
love spending time with us or his friends groups in moments like that. Whether it be a concert, whether it be a Palm Springs, whether it even be in New York or at the crib. Dewan likes those moments, those special moments, and that's his love language. So I'm sure he was just giddy with glee.
Gonna get Adele thinking like, "Oh, say less, I'll be there with you." Okay.
Yeah, he likes that stuff.
It blew every single expectation that I had about what the concert was going to be out of the water. It was a phenomenal show, even for it being in Vegas. I've seen Britney in Vegas. I've seen did I see Janet in Vegas? I think I saw Janet in Vegas. And anyway, I've seen a couple of performances in Vegas, and the sets are not really that great because the stages are not great. The seating space is pretty nice, but like the actual stage is not really that big. So it was a phenomenal experience. And then when they popped the confetti from the ceilings and whatnot, oh my goodness, I was just like, this is what heaven must be like, because we were having too much fun.
It really was. That was amazing. Definitely glad that we got to see her. I'm so glad that we got to share the opportunity together, because it really was magical. So magical that everyone ended up fucked up by the end of the night, because we ended up going to Piranha afterwards and having a couple drinks at Piranha, and then they came out with the dancers and their hot pink thongs on.
Yes.
And I emphasize on the hot pink because Auntie Dewan didn't even remember the color of the thongs.
I was like, neon green.
Girl. She was in outer space.
Y'all ordered.
First of all, I was surprised at the amount of stuffery that was going on, because, like, listen, not everybody has to have 9, 10, 12 inches of dick and 2-pound balls. Just saying. So it's not that bad, but like, I always feel a certain kind of way when you're going, and we were going there to see. I didn't even know there were going to be strippers there, or not strippers, but dancers. So they weren't stripping; they were literally just walking around in thongs. And then there was a point where they all did like a show and they're dancing on boxes and all that kind of stuff. But I'm looking, and I'm just like, that ain't real. That is not real.
That's plastic.
That's not how it's supposed to look.
That's not how it's supposed to look.
It was like it did like this, like it went down and then curved out, and I was like, what?
Oh.
And the shape, it was like, yeah, Yeah, they want to be.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
But we ended up leaving, and as we're leaving, we're like, damn, we need to eat because we didn't have dinner before the concert. Okay, so y'all,
And
mind
y'all
you,
were
we all
fucked
had
up.
like a burger. We had a burger in between being picked up from the concert, from the airport, and the concert. That's all that we
Oh,
had.
so that's why
So
y'all
we
was
ordered
actually
Taco Bell
drunk.
on the way home to have it meet us there when we get there. And honey, let me tell you, that food got there, and Auntie DeWine was like, they didn't get all my food. That's all right. I'm gonna eat this Mexican pizza. So we start watching RuPaul's Drag Race, and she gets up silently, mind you, okay, while the episode's going. And she just walks into the room, and all you hear is someone jump on the bed. And Adam goes, y'all chicken threw the pizza in the bed and jump in the bed. So Adam gets up and goes to the room and is like, DeWine, you gonna join us? DeWine says nothing. Nothing. So Fizz and I looked at each other. We just gonna eat our Crunch Wrap Supremes because we still hungry.
I know that's
Girl.
right.
First of
She was
all,
down. She was down.
I remember nothing. I don't even remember leaving Rihanna. I don't remember. Blacked out. And I am, for those of you that know me, y'all listening to the podcast right now, like a lot of y'all that know me and have been out with me, you know, I'm the queen of the Irish goodbyes. When I'm too far
When she
gone,
done, she
I go home and I
done.
go right to bed. You are not going to find me being messy. I'm not going to be falling down. I'm not going to be throwing up. No, she doesn't do that. She has something in her
They're
spirit.
called standards. They're called
It's that
standards.
DNA.
They're called
It's that
standards.
Queen Elizabeth
Whatever it
DNA.
is, I mean, you said it, I didn't. But he goes to bed. She goes to bed. All the Chicago crew, y'all know. Go out with DeWine. At some point, she will be gone. You'll look around and she'll be there 1 second, gone the next. Don't say goodbye to anybody, just gone.
Bitch, you were really gone in 60 seconds. That's literally how long it took.
But how
That
about we ordering Uber Eats for Taco Bell while we're in the Uber going to the place? They deliver the food, from what I understand. This is what they tell me. They delivered wait, we got there, and then the Uber or the delivery got there with the food, and then I ended up having to sign for it, right, or something.
Yes. Yeah.
Don't remember.
She didn't remember. Literally, the next morning we wake up and she's making breakfast, y'all. She got her was it a katana on, or what was it called?
Remember looking on,
A kimono. Yeah, you go. She had a kimono on. Girl, she got some music going. She got the eggs and the bacon going. Like
Wow,
nothing had ever happened.
yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm doing good. I was like, girl, that Taco Bell was good. She was like, you had Taco Bell last night? She looked over at the garbage. She was like, oh,
Oh, yes, we
wouldn't have known had I
did.
not seen the garbage Taco Bell over there. So that led me to believe, oh, guess what? You know what that means? She ate that Mexican pizza in bed, bitch, because it was gone. Had she not, she would have never remembered that there was some Taco Bell because it would have been everywhere in the room. Girl. And then we were so tired the next day, y'all. We just literally just chilled by the house. We took a nap, just played some games, just relaxed all day. It was perfect. The trip was literally perfect.
When,
Now I just can't wait for Paris.
When's the last time that you saw each other in person?
20.
That was before the pandemic, 28 or 2018.
Wow. Wow.
Damn, I didn't realize
no,
that.
No,
either.
19.
2019. Yeah.
19. It was before the pandemic. All four of us.
Yeah.
That
Wow.
was Fizz's birthday here in New York. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's been a minute. So we making up for lost time.
Hey.
But can't wait. Can't wait. I love seeing you. It was a
Yes.
great time.
It was
And,
sad saying goodbye. It really was. I was just like,
That was the
Aw.
worst.
you need to like figure out a way to get you to New York. 'Cause this-
Not
No,
them
no,
talking.
yeah.
They were doing the lowest work. Let me tell you, I wasn't even here for the conversation, but they were hyping Fizz up about applying for this job in New York. And apparently Fizz was telling them that I had also said this. So I entered in the conversation. And I was like, see, told you, like, we can do it. And he literally goes, see, I told y'all Jarrell has been pushing New York. And I'm like, girl, I'm trying to get over there. I'm trying.
Gotta
No
Get
change
there.
in
out
the
of the universe.
Okay.
Get there, boo.
But I'm ready for a little bit more tempo, and I'm ready to be around my Judies. You know,
Mhm.
Could you imagine?
ready.
Could you imagine the Golden Girl-ration of it all?
Golden
All of us were together
Girl-ration.
in the same, at least in the same, like
Like
one state
region.
away from each other. Come
Yeah.
on
So
now.
wait, so who
That
would be who
would
though?
incredible.
Who would be who though? Which
Oh,
girl would be?
Dorothy.
Okay. Jarrell?
Yeah,
Rose.
DeWine would be Dorothy.
No, I think I'm more Sophia. Because I'm always shading
I
bitches. I'm always
agree.
shading bitches.
Yeah. And ready to fight.
Yeah.
And ready to fight. That's
Yeah,
a
I'm
word.
Sophia. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then who would Kerel be?
He would have to be Blanche though, because he's the hoe.
I
I
know
mean,
that.
not necessarily the hoe, but he be, looking at the naked
I ain't the hoe,
man,
but I'm the
and-
hoe, I guess.
Yeah,
I
he's the one
guess.
that's
Always talking
yeah.
about sex.
Yeah.
It's not even. Hold on.
And you
I
have
got to
to
stick
go,
up for
you're the
myself.
Girl, you
I'm not always talking about sex. Everybody talk about sex. I'm just willing to be honest about the situation. But you're right. I'd be Blanche. You're right. I'm not gonna lie.
you pretty.
I am, but no. I would be.
He said, but no.
It's so funny because Jarrell Owens, who was on the podcast last week, and Lewis, we were talking about this a while back. And Lewis is straight up Rose 100% every day. Actually,
Our friend Lewis is Rose,
gym.
yeah.
And so I think I would be either Dorothy or Sophia, but I do have my blonde moments, so it just depends on the day.
I
can see you
agree.
being
That's
Dorothy
it.
as well. Yeah.
I agree. Dorothy's more land of speed. Maybe Sophia. I think I lean maybe 60% Dorothy, 40% Sophia for Landon as well.
You can also be quick with the tongue as well too, and very kind of to the point. Like I ain't here for it. Patience this short.
Mhm.
Speaking of DeWine, there's that Golden Girls restaurant that's in the Seaport. They close in March.
Oh,
You
really?
can go sometime. Yeah, it's it's like a
Let's
Golden
go.
Girls scenery, whatever. So yeah, let's
Let's
check
go.
that out. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, I
down.
wanna
I'm totally
go.
down.
All right.
Okay, I guess we can talk about
right. So let's go ahead. So we'll take a quick little tea break and we'll come back and do Ask Aunties.
Hey,
We interrupt this episode for very important information.
That's
While
You've
this
been asking for
commercial's
a long time.
going,
I heard you.
Yep, it's been a long time.
If you haven't
but it's
gone out
finally
there and
here.
got merch from
Oh,
Got
Merch! Hey, that's right. You know what? We got tees, we got long tees, we got sweatshirts, we got fanny packs, we got there's a whole
You know
band
what?
of
I
stuff.
wore
Check that out.
on the
Feel so
cruise
appreciative of your love and
in the
support.
tank
If you're
top
like
version of
Auntea
Wash Your
Kerel,
Hands,
like
Realize
at
Your Ass.
Ma'am, they can head right over to
A hit.
minoritea.com.
A hit.
Check out the selection.
That's right. That's Minoritea report.com.
If we need a
I'm
new
about to go
commercial,
get
we
some
know. We'll get there.
All right, welcome back. So, guess what time it is?
Ask
your
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So these past 3 years have been difficult, but in the past 6 months or so, I've gone downhill fast. I don't see the point in trying.
And this is gonna be a
anything
behind the
to try
scenes
great
moment here. So this part I had to cut because, or had chopped because he started an SULTs that we had already done, and I must have not marked it, or he didn't mark it or something. And I was going, don't you know, like this was like one of the best stuff episodes last year too. So she didn't remember. So that just goes back to sometimes her mind kind of like, oh, I guess we did that. It is what it is. But it was kind of funny to see that. So I had to go and chop the first part of it. And then this is the new Ashantis that they're like, oh shit, we better get a new one. Let's go look at our queue, because we have a queue of the questions, and go and pick another one. So that's like a little behind the scene, behind the curtain moment right there that you guys wouldn't even know even occurred.
things, but just stopped after my mom died in 2018. Since then, the state of the world has gotten worse and worse. I'm going to be 35 soon, and I'm feeling like I've wasted all of my time. What's the point in creating anything now? I lack all drive and motivation. I want to create, but it seems pointless. I can't seem to make myself start, and if I do, I don't continue for more than a few days or weeks if I'm lucky. I wanted to write you to ask your opinion on finding motivation when all your creativity, your drive, and hope seem to disappear. It feels gone, but maybe that's just buried. I don't know how to get it back. What should I do?
Damn, that's tough. But Linda, I want you to go, because we've been kind of having some conversation. So you take a mic first, love.
Thank you. Well, first, my condolences, and I'm sorry about the loss of your mom and a parent. That's tough. And tough is an understatement. Wow. Jarrell and I recently had some conversations about Black mental health and some things that I kind of experienced last month. And I think the first step has already been taken. So to whomever wrote this, I think just acknowledging like, hey, like I'm in this space, it doesn't necessarily feel the greatest. Even acknowledging and wanting to get to a better space is already some traction in the right direction. And what I feel might be right for me might be, different for you. I think the most important thing is to, if this is the right decision for you, to talk to somebody about it and seek out some of those resources when it comes down to therapy. If you work for an organization that offers an employee assistance program, a lot of these EAPs provide counseling. That's a part of your compensation, where you can see a therapist for a few sessions to kind of at least start this journey of figuring out like, how do you get to this different space and wanting to get back to some of the things that are important to you, creating and doing the things that you love. So I think that's probably the first step. The loss of a parent is something like it's I don't even know how to put it in words, because I think about my dad a lot. Like, I wish my dad were here to see all of the like really amazing athletic things that I'm doing within my career. And there's always going to be that void and that emptiness. And sometimes that emptiness kind of comes and goes. Sometimes I'm really happy, and sometimes I'm like, damn, like this sucks. I don't really have any other insightful things to say. The only thing that I can really say is you reaching out, writing this, looking for some sort of start to this journey of wanting to be in a better space, I think is like key. It's super important. Sometimes you just got to write out how you feel, just so that you know that like, I'm putting this on paper, I'm expressing how I feel, and I know that there's something going on and I want to get to a better space. So I think that's just the first thing that I'm thinking of in regards to wanting to get to that better space and get back to where you want to be. Jarrell, Dewan, how about you go, Dewan?
I 100% agree with Landon in the notion of seeking out someone to talk to about the things that are going on. I can't sit here and try to diagnose what is going on that's causing the blockage, but I think you probably know better than anyone else what things are still unresolved that's becoming a challenge for you to dive into and be consistent with your creativity. And I think part of your creativity is being tied to just happiness within your own life, and it sounds like based on some of the things that you
Oh damn. So something happened to, let me see. So let me, his mic was down on this part. So I'm going to fix that. So see, this is, I'm glad I saw this part. And I'll fix that in everything here. So I'll go back and re-upload the episode with the full version of that. Okay. So while I kind of re-download that, so that's live in the moment right there. What happened was when I edited this, I had to kind of slice so much and kind of put audio, splice it with the video, et cetera, that this part, his mic got turned down by accident. So, it is what it is. We'll fix it. We'll fix it. All right, now let me get back to the episode. And I'll fast forward.
I feel guilty that I get to I can't like there are days where I feel like I feel guilty that I get to, see certain things and my best friend, don't get to experience these things. So from there, I don't want to lean into the joy of being able to appreciate and still have these things. But for me personally, I've had to try to lean into, keeping that person's spirit alive by enjoying those things for her since she can no longer do those things. But grief, affects people in different ways. There are times where I feel like I go days and I'm like, I'm good. And all of a sudden one day hits and boom, it's like all over again. But I think to what both Landon and Duan were saying, I think it is very important that you talk to someone. It's hard to navigate on our own. And you mentioned that you're 35. We're all in the same kind of age range where we also didn't necessarily grow up in times where talking about these struggles that a lot of us face that are actually more common in life than we were told growing up are things that we're having to learn in real time. Like I say adulting is the scam of the lifetime because everyone said, well, you can do that when you were grown. And guess what? You can't do that when you're grown because in order to do that, you got to do A, B, and C. So there's a lot of scamming that comes with being adult that we are learning as we go because of the fact that these aren't the things that were taught to us that we should be prepared to be able to handle and deal with, as adults. So I say, talk to someone and talk to friends to also kind of help normalize, that feeling. One other thing that says though, I suffer from anxiety and my anxiety can be crippling and so bad to the point where literally all I want to do is like sit in a dark room and not do anything. And so outside of taking like, antidepressants and anti-anxiety medicines, like things that have helped me to kind of get back in a rhythm are focusing on little things that I can control daily to get myself back into a habit, to kind of stay back on track, to kind of stay a little bit grounded. So doing simple things like making sure just to simply make my bed every day. It's not a huge thing, but that's giving me some type of consistency. So when I think about doing something else, I don't feel like that's impossible because I can say, hey, at least I'm doing this consistently every day. So I can do this consistently as well. This is actually possible. So finding little things like that to kind of help motivate you. Maybe you have to just start with something small and then build your way up to those big creative things that you used to do once upon a time. Those skills didn't leave you. Those are God-given talents, meaning that they're going to be with you. So yeah, I would say maybe they are just buried, and you just have to figure out how to let them shine and be part of your everyday like they were once again before.
And also one last piece, don't put this journey of moving through grief and this journey on a timeline. Don't say, hey, I need to feel better or I need to be doing something and be back to myself at a certain point. We all go through grief and we all go through some of these challenges in our own time. So don't feel rushed. I know that there's this notion like, yes, we want to feel better fast, but this is one of those things where you can't put your grief and what you're feeling on a timeline and say, oh, a year from now I need to be feeling better, because feeling better, what we think feeling better now might be different than later on. Like when I lost when everything kind of happened with my niece back in 2019, I put my grief on a timeline. I was like, okay, I'll be fine in 3 months. And 3 months still wasn't enough to the point where like I wasn't getting out of bed. I was laying in bed, staring at a wall, going into work late because I just could not physically move myself out of bed. And that was 3 months. That was 3 months after everything. So, as you go through this journey, just know like we are with you. Feel free to like, reach out to us, whether it be, email, if we can, direct you to some resources when it comes down to some of the things that we talked about, but definitely thinking of you. And if there's anything that we can do, please reach out.
Absolutely. That was a good question.
And then my perspective, honestly, on it, and they kind of hit on maybe more the grief piece of it. But when it comes to creativity, because at the core of me is a creative human being. And honestly, I find even doing the podcast, yes, I love showing the spectrum and talking about issues that affect the Black queer communities and the brown queer communities and minority queer communities. At the core of it for me, I'm finding it's another creative outlet for myself. And when it comes to creativity, sometimes it's okay to give yourself permission for it to shape shift into something else. Excuse me, my nose is all kind of stuffy, back with the dog, allergies acting up. But because for years, I thought the only way for me to get out my creative talents and avenues was through music. And when it wasn't taking off the way I wanted it to take off and things like that, felt like that was maybe starting to cripple my creativity and things like that. But doing this podcast is giving me the avenue to say, hey, okay, create the theme song, create the Ashley Aunties theme, and there'll be new stuff coming kind of, in the future and things like that. And it's allowing me to see creativity in a different light. So if you feel like you're stuck, go to a different setting, go to a different city. If you're grieving, use that grief as your creativity. Sometimes we say we can only create when we're sad. We can only create when we're happy. We can only use that creativity because it might spur something that you're like, wow, I never would have normally done X, Y, Z. So sometimes making yourself uncomfortable will spark other creativity. And then again, sometimes you can't force creativity. Sometimes you're sitting there trying to make something or create something and it ain't flowing. Then the second you stop thinking about it, that's when you get inspired. So allow yourself to know that, hey, maybe I just need a break as well. Like this week on vacay was huge. It's the first time I've not had Wi-Fi and consistent connectivity to the internet maybe in my life, or maybe at least since I was like a little kid before we really knew what the internet was, the social media and all this stuff. So for me, that was so recharging, so refreshing to kind of sometimes, even though I was like, on vacation, hanging out with friends and things like that, to kind of rethink your own creativity. Sometimes you get so influenced by everything else, you forget what your little voice and your little point of view is and your angle is. So yeah, maybe you just need to simply recharge. Maybe you're just tired and stressed and things like that. Step back. Give yourself permission to miss the world for a second. Like I thought, taking this week off, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna miss what's on social. I missed the Rihanna halftime show, this and that. Bitch, life goes on, and you'll find that you're recharged and rejuvenated from it. So yeah, just from more of a creativity angle, allow yourself to recharge, set up a different situation, and maybe shape shift what your creativity even is. If you're in music, or if you're in fashion, or if you're in art, try something else, and it might spur and influence the other creativity of yourself. So that's my little thought there.
That was a really good question. So, hey, community, continue to send your Ask Your Aunties to us. We need some new ones. We're 2 months into 2023. We can still definitely use some more. But continue to send them at aya@minorityReport.com. Or you can DM us your questions if, go into your Outlook. It's too much work and you just happen to be strolling on IG. All right. But we'd love to hear from you. And again, we don't have to disclose who you are. We can keep it anonymous as well, too. But we'll love to just be able to, allow our space to continue to do that, because these spaces need to be happening for us. So, yeah. Yes. So, what else do we have on the topics, ladies, here? Seems like we've been at it for a while, but did we want to talk about this last episode of RuPaul's Drag Race?
Ooh.
I feel like it is not worth talking about.
Well, there you have it.
And we watched it together twice.
Yeah, twice.
I actually kind of like the last couple episodes.
All I want to say is that they should have read Mistress down, because that outfit, we have literally seen them drag people for worse, and that she had on that fucking adult diaper,
the quilted panties and the
pick her up,
bell bottoms
was
the
not
quilted chaps and bell bottoms.
That was not it,
Yeah.
honey. That was not it, and I just can't even. That's the only thing I really wanted to say. Other than that, meh of an episode.
Yeah. And for those who aren't watching it or whatever, they kind of rehashed one of the things that
I thought you said we wasn't going to.
Okay.
Oh, right.
Look,
Darrell always be
it's
getting
up
it
to you.
together.
No, it's up to you. It's
Say
up to you.
that
We can go for it.
Next, you want to talk about Cece, my best friend?
Yeah, girl. Oh, that was the other thing too, y'all, because we love the drag Sierra. Not until
We don't love the drag. No, we don't.
What? Stop the process.
We don't love the drag Sierra. Dewan loved the drag Sierra. Leave Sierra alone.
Stop
Yes,
the process.
bitch.
Yo, that album must have been good. That album must
I
have
know
been good.
he texted
Let
us
us
said,
be
"Why
clear.
Dewan dancing to
I
Sierra?"
never said that her hits weren't hitting. What I said was, why is she trying to make music still? That's what I said. So it's not like I don't like Sierra. I just don't understand why she's still making music, because what
'Cause she
she's
won't
making
to.
isn't really doing anything. So
Hey.
I can enjoy a pop, and I will dance to some Sierra when it comes on. If it's time to level up, honey, I'm ponying up and I'm gonna level up. But not this other stuff.
And
I
that's
mean,
a
not her today
choreography.
being in the studio posting something, and like I'm seeing on Twitter, why is Sierra trending for music?
Oh
Ow, that
damn!
it actually sounded kind of good though. I'm excited to hear it. It
I
reminded me a
didn't
little
see
bit.
that.
Of,
I
like,
didn't miss that
I'll give it a
on
listen.
being on a cruise
Sierra.
ship.
Huh? I'll give it. It reminded me of what's the
I'm gonna have to look
like
that
the
up.
work Sierra area where she had work and then she had like ride and stuff like that. Like
Yep.
I was like, okay, this is
It's-
Sierra that I remember
it's like
that
groovy.
had those bops at the
Oh,
end.
she
And
giving
it's
us a
very
slow
like it's very
groove?
leaning more into like the
No, let me
R&B
see.
side of things, with just a little bit
Yeah.
of like that Atlanta popping, locking, pussy popping kind of thing.
Yeah, but let me tell you, I'm not gonna get my hopes up.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna get my hopes up. I'm gonna wait till that song to come out, and then I'm gonna decide on whether or not I'm gonna like it.
You know what it's gonna
Well,
do? It's gonna float and then coast.
Stop.
It-
Stop.
Prove me wrong.
Stop.
Prove me wrong.
I hope she does. I hope she
But
does.
here's the thing about Sierra, though. Like, similar to her label, they kind of gave up on Sierra. And so she asked for a master's. They gave it to her. And now that she came over Level Up, which was a movement, which was a bop and a huge success. So that's why she continues to put out music. She's able to own her own masters and profit probably more than she did when the label was owning it. So, anyway. But hold on, I'm trying to find. Ooh, it's crazy. Everybody. Even when you type in Sierra, you'd say I'm Blanche and this kind of stuff be popping up. Come on now. Oh, I mean, I ain't mad though. Okay, stay focused, like Tab will say. Where is I'm trying to see. her in the studio. Oh, let's see here.
Play it for me a cappella. Play the girls from me a cappella up front on the first half, and then on the second half, drop the beat in.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. This is for the girls getting money. This is for the girls that don't need no man. This is for the girls that's in love with themselves. This is for all the girls that done did it by themselves. This is for all the girls that's INTEPENDENT. This is for all the girls that be living stress free. This is for all the girls that are wishing like me. This is for all the girls around the world.
I mean, I'm not mad at it too. Okay, we'll see. We'll see what the video look like too, because you know, once you pair that video up with it, it be for the girls. You know.
Hope she does.
Did she say when this was dropping?
No.
No, she was in the studio and decided to post a clip.
It'd be Dewan's facial expressions.
Speaking of other things that Auntie Dewan might not be impressed about as well too. You know about that show Queen's Court with Tamar Braxton and Evelyn from Basketball Wives and Nivea?
I haven't heard of it.
They are
Nivea.
doing a reality dating show.
Don't mess with my man Nivea.
Love. And it's going to be, you know, a dating show with the three of them, and they'll be going on multiple dates with guys.
Actually, I kind of like Tamar and Evelyn, so we'll see.
And
I might check this episode out.
I don't know who ordered this, but this can get sent back to the kitchen.
Yeah,
real quick.
Yeah.
It's a no for me, dog.
I mean, I like a good kind of like reality show, you know. And honestly, if they would have nixed the whole dating aspect and just did kind of like another version of like, you know, like the Basketball Wives / you know, like Real Housewives, but just with those three, that would be dope.
Yeah.
That would be that franchise that, because I think the three of them personality wise are so dynamic and interesting and whatever that, you know, that would be some interesting television. But to see them out there dating these people, and it's like, okay, it's three of them and they're dating all these people, and what? Like, we're supposed to be interested in watching you.
We've seen the show before.
Date people that you ain't gonna be with a year from now. Like, come on now.
Honestly, like, we've seen this style of show before. The only big difference is that the people who are the main three people that are dating are celebrities. But other than that, we've seen this done before. Yeah. So, and we know it doesn't work. So I don't know. I think it's going to be.
That's why they keep ordering it, because they know it don't work and they like the drama.
I'm just going. Let me tell you, I watched The Bachelorette just to watch the men. I don't care about that bitch getting in love. I
never seen an
on there.
episode.
Who do I need to follow on Instagram? So that's all I'm gonna be tuning in.
I low-key want to see another reboot of I Love New York, because one thing New York is going to do, she's going to give you some good TV. And if there was a dating show that I would like to watch, I would like to see her show, because it's going to be a whole mess. The HBIC, come on now.
That is something I would love to see as well too.
I would love to see that.
I forgot about that.
With all the men that she gave names, and
like, all of them.
Like, and that show was like what, 10, 15 years ago?
Easy.
So
that's I think that was like
college. That's a show that's a person who I would like to see, because I feel like
it might be 20
her
years
personality is big enough. It's like a Flavor of Love. Like, her personality alone is big enough to carry that whole show. It's not even about the dating. It's just about who won't get cussed out this week in this moment.
100%. Yeah, I love that all those like clips from like the trash reality TV shows from back in the day are like starting to trend again. Because girl, the episode of Flavor Flav where she was like, "You want some chapstick?
Some lip chat.
Some lip chat. You want some lip chat?"
Girl, we were talking about that in Vegas. I was like, every time I hold my knife like this,
she went to praying.
I always think of New York, scheming and trying to like, you know, like mentally sabotage people.
Girl,
good morning. You could choke.
You could choke, right?
I love her.
Girl,
I love her. She's
took me out. Took me out. Yeah. Speaking of other things too, I saw the news. Y'all hear about that man? This poor man. He thought he was looking flight to Sydney, Australia, and he ended up in Montana.
No,
girl, he booked a flight to Sydney, and he thought he was going to Sydney, Australia, and ended up in Sydney, Montana, bitch. And he posted, girl, he posted, he was so mad. He was on the side of the window like,
wait, did he not?
After working for an airline, you can't sit there and tell me that these mofos at the gate don't say the state after the city, and it don't say it on the board.
Well, how do you think the timing? Just the timing of like
the duration of the flight,
right? Like, okay, you get on a flight and then it leaves off. Like, I get it if you're flying
from
like
a small ass
Australia, then you're like, okay, well,
airplane.
You know, I'm kind of like depending on which way you're going, you know, you either fly forward in time or backwards in time in a sense. Like, for example, when I flew to South Korea, you know, you lose a day going there, but then when you fly back, you leave at like 12 o'clock and then you land at 1 p.m. Like, literally, you leave 12 o'clock there, but you land at 1 p.m. So you got the whole damn day. So, you know, I could kind of get there, but nobody's checking your passport. The flight is only X number of hours, not double-digit hours. Like, what? How does that happen?
And there's not a lot of like big airports in Montana, so y'all gonna fly some regional jets going up into
that part.
So what made you think like you was flying to Sydney on a small ass jet?
Girl, now let's be honest, y'all. Now y'all know there are a lot of people in our community that don't go nowhere. Okay, that don't have the luxury of the experience to really do.
That's why that ticket was so cheap.
From what I read, this was a man, you know, taking a chance and doing a big trip for the first time, trying to treat himself.
How much was it?
And
how much was it?
Yeah.
How much was the flight?
How much was the ticket? Did it say?
Oh, it didn't say. An article that I read.
Okay.
But,
not it being a black man too.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's why I say in our community. That's why I say in our community. Because you know, some people don't leave. You know, some people stay in the hood. Some people don't leave. They just all they know is the neighborhood. All they know is the block.
They said Burnett says he realized his mistake when he boarded a small plane and only saw a handful of other passengers. I saw a little
Did I
plane
not just
with
say
like
that?
9
Yeah, he saw
passengers
the-
and wondered, how is this going to get me to Australia?
And he said the
How is
clientele
this
on
a
that
story?
plane.
He's like, Montana didn't have kangaroos, it had Carol. I'm done.
That is hilarious.
Girl, that took me out. But I will say this though, and this is why I want to bring it up. That's actually one of my nightmares. Is like booking a ticket somewhere and going to the wrong destination. I just one of my
That's
nightmares.
funny.
And he was flying from New York. You know what? You don't deserve to go to Sydney.
Heart.
Oh, he went to the right city. He deserves to go to.
Right.
You get what you pay for. That's what they say. I wouldn't know that price. Like Landon said, how much you pay for?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm actually not. I'm going down a rabbit hole. It's like,
Here we go. Here we go.
this is crazy.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about one more thing. Let's get going because we out of time. We've been doing this for a minute. But I saw the one that you said that Pharrell is going to be the creative director for
Yeah.
Louis Vuitton.
Pharrell was he's the
Ooh, I didn't see
basically
that
the predecessor for Louis Vuitton.
Damn,
So
that means he ain't gonna have a lot of time for
Pharrell's always
music.
had kind of a very
I don't know how I feel
interesting
about that.
relationship, with fashion, and he's always kind of like represented his California cool kind of like vibe, and he has his
He's from
own Fashion
Virginia
Line Billionaire
Beach.
Boys Club, and it kind of represents that like skater, Southern California or Northern California kind of like vibe and whatnot. So it'll be very interesting
That's
to
that
see
VA
like
Beach.
how this role presents itself and how that influences Louis Vuitton and some of the fashions that they're creating and the relationship that they have.
I love to hear that. And for a second, I had to dig in the archive too because I was like, wait, is that the brand that be doing the blackface monkeys? That's Gucci, I believe, right?
Gucci and Balenciaga be fucking up
Need that
Be
part.
fucking up.
all the time.
This is just to go to show that like you can hire black creatives to be in roles where you can make sure that representation is present in those rooms. And I hope some of these other brands start recognizing just how dope our culture is and how much influence that we have on fashion as well too.
I also feel like this just opens up the conversation
We've
of like
always had
how
exploitive
exploitive
fashion.
like our culture, how companies exploit our culture. So like I also wonder, is this an opportunity just to like replace a black guy with another black? Is this an affirmative action hire? You know what I mean? Like
they got a quota that they
Right.
maintain. They're like, oh, we lost one, so we gotta get one.
We gotta get it back. And so who else could we possibly get? We can't get Kanye because he's blacklisted at this point. So like Pharrell kind of makes sense.
Black
He's
and
like
white
fashion guy. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out and like whether or not it'll also be interesting to see like through what lens he's able to influence some of the designs that'll come from LD.
I think it'll be cute.
We'll see.
Hopefully they can give some nigga prices so that bitch can start afford some things.
Right.
Come on, Pharrell.
Word.
Look, we see each other, girl. Like, but our pocketbooks don't see eye to eye. So let us be able to afford some shit, please.
Look,
Help a nigga out.
after Adele, pretty soon Beyonce, and then Janet a little bit later in the year. Like
a bitch, bro.
anybody got time? Anybody got no money for anything?
Nothing.
None. Let me tell you, I bought tickets to go see this black queer
I'm
artist.
about to go to Sydney, Montana, instead of Sydney,
And when I
Australia.
tell you, I screamed when them tickets said $20. I said, "Thank you, Jesus, girl." I said $20. I was like, "Yes." I
need to
said,
get him
"We're
on
gonna
the
go to this
podcast.
concert tomorrow. I'm getting tickets." Girl,
Honey.
I was excited to see them $20 prices because
Inflation is raping the hell out of us. It really is because everything is costing a bank. Honestly, like going back to the whole like, okay, we're going to see Beyonce in Paris. First of all, that is not even a subtle flex. That is a whole flex.
That is a
Get it?
whole
But
flex.
the prices in Paris compared to the prices in the United States, it's like 4 times less the price. Literally.
Wow.
Paris B versus Philly
Yeah,
B.
because I wasn't on that podcast last week when we talked about the Beyonce concert and tickets and stuff like that. But when Matt and I were staying up till 4 o'clock in the morning, y'all, to get these damn tickets, okay, because we had to get them. We had to jump in the queue during the France hours of daytime. So we logged in at midnight, didn't get in until 1 a.m., and then it took us another 2.5 hours, 3 hours. Just
I'm about to do
get
that
Wow.
today.
So it
It's
took us
11:30
4.5
a.m.
hours
when I'm
to get
recording
the
this.
tickets. And even then,
Tickets
we
going
still
to
even
set
get,
too, so I'm about to
everyone's
hop
together.
in
We
this
got,
queue
one here and two
now.
there. But everyone's gonna be in the building at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But the prices for like the Club Renaissance, like after taxes, were like $500. They were going for double that here in the States.
Yeah,
The tickets that we got that
this
week
goes
before, they're like
crazy.
level 100, so they're still like right there on the bottom,
Yeah.
right? What, like 150?
Yeah,
Them things were going for $500,
Yeah.
like here in the States.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy how much the prices were. And little hear my ass being like, I'm gonna see her twice because DeWine had asked in a couple episodes like, who has seen her perform at one part of this of the tour and then seen how it is at the other end of the tour. And I was like, oh, that's a good idea. I want to do that. I'm gonna see her twice.
Baby.
Yeah.
They-
I thought the
look,
same
I
thing.
did the pre-sales, so I wanted to get. I was like, I'm set for the pre-sale.
I wanted to see it in
I got
Atlanta
you.
and
I got
Philly,
you.
and that ain't
And I was
happening.
like, who want these pre-sale codes? Because I can't go, so I'll just give you my login information. You get yourself those tickets and transfer them over, do what you need to do. Because I ain't using this pre-sale. It's gonna go to waste.
Yeah.
So I ended up hooking a couple people up with my pre-sale codes.
I sat, just for context, I got tickets both in Chicago and in Pittsburgh, sitting on the floor, literally right next to the stage. And they were $650 a piece, like
Wow.
on the floor by the stage. Honey, now those things are like $2,000.
Easily.
Girl.
They're like 3,000,
2,000.
4,000.
And that's probably on the
And that's-
tickets that the seats. That's the seats furthest away from the stage.
And by the way, that's like the original purchase price, not the resale purchase price that you typically find.
Yeah.
So by the time the scalpers and the people that had scooped up whatever tickets they're going to get, those tickets are going to be crazy expensive.
Yeah, like if you didn't, I feel bad for anyone who didn't get a pre-sale code and get tickets before those scalpers got a hold of them
Yeah.
because can't nobody afford those tickets at a resale value. Just
It's a lot. It's
Just can't.
way too much. Way too much.
That's way too much. So, but we in that bitch.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll be up in there, and I plan to get cussed the fuck out in French because I'll be right there in the club, Club Renaissance, pushing bitches out.
Girl, what
know
if
that's right.
you showed up in them two old biddies that was at the Adele concert right next to us, honey? We're like,
Please, dear
we
God,
already
no.
know. You already know what
Stay
this
your
is.
ass home.
I
Get
honestly,
ready.
I don't think those two OBDs like black people. So I think that had a factor to do with it a little bit too. 'Cause,
They're a little drinking too much Maca water, huh?
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, very gave that energy.
Ugh.
Very gave that energy. Well, community, thank y'all for rocking with us on this one of a kind first
Yeah.
episode without Auntie Kerel.
job,
We definitely missed
ladies.
her.
We
Hopefully
love
y'all
you.
enjoyed it. But continue to keep rocking with us. Continue to follow us and share us. It is still Black History Month.
Period.
Support Black-owned businesses. But
Period.
continue to wash your legs, wash your hands, wash your ass.
All
And
of
we
it.
will see y'all.
Oh, girl,
later, y'all.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
She ain't good to wash part, right? Is wash your hands, your legs, and your ass. See you next week. That's okay though, ladies. Oh, good job. Good job. That was interesting. That was interesting to watch. I've never done that before. Reacted to an episode of our own. So, who knows? Maybe we do something like this again in the future. And I'm sure I won't be missing too many episodes. But yeah. Anyway, there we go. I reacted to our latest episode. Leave some comments. Did you like this? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Is it indifferent? I don't know. But okay. Wash your hands, your legs, and your ass. See you next week. Bye.